morning, good morning, my Sierra Leonean friends and family. This is the Master Dream Builder. This is Reggie Cole. Today, at the 2nd of July, 2026, a Thursday morning, a good 24-hour gift where God don't bless me with again. You know, one of the things that you need to understand in life is God is an equalizer. Yes, God is an equalizer. It makes sure He give everybody the same number of hours and minutes in a day, 24 hours. He not give Richard Branson more. He not give that man where they sleep under Congo Cross Bridge less. Now, waiting now the value where we put into that 24 hours day, now they determine who we are in society and who we are in life and what we leave for our children's children. First, we give God thank you for where we wake up this morning, for places to go, people to see, and things to do. We pray for those who not wake up this morning, where yesterday they don't plan how July will go for them. This morning, they don't take their last breath. May their souls rest in peace. And we pray for those that are sick anywhere in the world, outside and day, whether they're in a host, they're in a village, they're in a diaspora. We pray for strength and full recovery. And I guess somebody way there to me where they get some serious pains. If you hear this message, I'm praying for your full recovery. You know, yesterday we don't reach another pinnacle. You know, we push the envelope small in this community of Sierra Leoneans. We push them small. We push them small. The reason why I make us say that, now 2 lessons there for land pan this stairway at the can tell us so. Yesterday, Mr. Nelson Mansoye of Sierra Fin in Finland not only send me a one-liner to say, oh, it's all right, you know, you can talk about me, uncle. No, it actually do a comprehensive write-up about that. Then it not stop there, it do a comprehensive audio about that. It not vex, it not say this is malicious. It said this is a lesson for let we learn and let we teach the next generation. On the other hand, Mr. Nelson Mansoye is one of the greatest supporters of the $100 billion GDP movement. Listen when I say one of the greatest supporters of the, not my, the $100 billion GDP movement, because this movement don't come on me hand. It don't go now to a bunch of people where they inside that WhatsApp group day. So this is not about waiting a Reggie Cole device. No, this is about waiting the movement stand for. It's a movement. And Mr. Nelson Mansoye is the one of the top 3 supporters of that movement. The vocal supporters, at least. I get some supporters, but they not do audios. Okay, but the vocal supporters. Now the lesson is, Mimi for Fred say, that man they la knock upset and just know it's on in back for me. I can't talk about your uncle. But I had to look at waiting at the job I they do. Am I doing it for the greater good of Sierra Leone, or am I partial to sacred cows? The answer was, I'm doing it for the good of Sierra Leone. I'm not a go after nobody personally. I'm doing it for the good of Sierra Leone. So therefore, there was no limit as to what I could say or couldn't say about any one particular person in terms of the ones the women don't handle Salon before. And that and a lesson. Number 1, I had the gall and nerve to stand on the courage of my conviction. Number 2, Mr. Mansoye responded not in malice, not in denigration, but in a spirit of maturity by overlooking at the big picture, the overall picture of what is it that we're trying to do here. This is exactly the spirit Sierra Leone needs if we are to go forward. We need respect. We need dialogue. We need ideas, not insult and personal vendetta. Because no nation, there is not a single nation, will ever argue itself into prosperity. Nations prosper when people sit around a table with one vision, but maybe with different directions to get there, and they solve the problems together. Today, I want to talk about something called the African business model. Not only one way Africa create to, now the one way they create for Africa, when that model they we still use today. For centuries now, I don't know about you, but I was born at a very young age. I was born at the age of 0. But for centuries now, Africa has been one of the richest continents on earth. Africa is still the richest continent on earth. With gold, diamonds, iron ore, oil, gas, copper, cobalt, rare earth minerals, fertile land, the youngest population in the world, yet 97% of Sierra Leoneans are poor and cannot afford 3 meals a day, cannot afford good education, good health care. This contradiction should force every African, but we're dealing with Sierra Leone. Now that corner day we get first. Now charity begins at home. The contradiction should force every Sierra Leonean to ask themselves one question. And this question also is the biggest question you'll ever ask in your life. For anything you want to do, for anything you want to change, for anything you want to address, the question, a 3-letter word, you know already. Why? Why Sierra Leone for day the way how we do so? Some of the answer lies in history. Colonial powers and draw borders that paid little attention to existing kingdoms, communities, or cultures. Beaucoup historians then argue say that decision they contributed to long-term political and economic challenges. But again, acknowledging one of our seniors in this circuit of talking on behalf of Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans, BJJ Jalo Jamboree there in Norway, now don't bring to the public forefront that we're traumatized people. And this is something we're not addressing. We are a traumatized nation, traumatized from dragging our brothers and sisters onto a ship where they don't even buy tickets for, where they take across the Atlantic Ocean, traumatized by the invasion of our country. They call it colonization of people away. They don't look like we, but they can't boss we in our own country. Can you imagine going inside somebody in Maridos? You yourself, you get 2 swinging balls. The man will get swinging balls. You say, I know. That means the boss around there. I say, Musu, cook for me fufu and whatever. Forget about that in Monday. In fact, you will get me the beer. That don't happen, no colonization. You see, I can make things simple. Me, I learned from Dexter Yeager. Make it simple. Now, don't make colonization, Andy. Somebody can inside your house. You married with your pikine in the boss you have. You don't turn in servant. We are traumatized. Then, of course, post-independence, with the power alaki, where they left with the homework of divide and conquer, we master, we'll go get PhD pan ourselves. We'll begin looking at, oh, that in a Southeast, come on, that in a Northwest, come on, this is a Timini, this is a Creole, this is a Mende. Stupid. Then, obviously, we get this senseless war, long and short term, where some of the players of that war that then sit down at this illegitimate government, so we're traumatized people. And we need the likes of BJJ for to speak up and educate us on these things. After independence, Sierra Leone faced challenges. How can we build modern economies after decades of colonial rule and human capital brain drain. Many countries like Salone borrow heavily. We talked about that yesterday. Don't forget, say, 1979, 75 cents, they buy one American dollar. Okay? I remember the first time we 12 leons, now you go use for buy $1. I think that was 1983. That's how quick things begin for go down. And it's after 1980, now we begin for queue up for rice. Never happened before. Things started to change in front of our eyes. Debt increased. Why? It's important that you remember now, the most important question you'll ever ask is why? Because Shaka Stevens get a puppet governor for coming after I don't on live Samuel Lansana Bangura of Yile. He gets another puppet. He get a puppet rather, because Bangura wasn't a puppet. That's why he on live. He gets a puppet for Kansido and sign paperwork we don't understand. And those paperwork was a combination of two institutions where una politicians them of today still rely on. That's the IMF and World Bank. They give them a $50 million loan, and the rest, as they say, is history. And then bring the economic reforms, the structural adjustment program, as Nayari yesterday on the Nigeria one, privatization, currency devaluation, and open up your market. But if you talk to a girl where you want to move, or not get business yet, you open up your market. You're liable for slap you. But let people they can't dictate to we back. Open up your markets. First off, it's an oxymoron. That means it don't make sense. Like the word apartments. How can it be apart when it's so together? You understand? But then you say, open up your market. So hold on, you they tell me, they command me for open up what you don't call your market, my market. Surely, I should make the decision if it's my market. That's what we mean by oxymoron. Jumbo shrimp. Shrimp small. How can it be jumbo? You understand? Critics argued that this will weaken local in industries and reduce national control over key assets. I will take the word argue out of it because we can see that every day in Sierra Leone. History continues to debate those policies. But one thing is very clear, that slave mentality, inferiority complex for the white man, student, PhD holders, whoever they are, scientists, whatever, lawyers, that are still holding on to these myths, it's clear those policies have brought us, or at least, if I want to be generous, partially brought us to where we are, because the rest we play our own part. No nation becomes wealthy by using these tools or simply by exporting its raw materials and open up our markets for the other people that can take advantage of we. Nations become wealthy by creating value, by processing, by manufacturing, by innovating. That means creating. And by owning more of the value chain. So before we go further, let me play the business plan we then devised for Africa.
Africa is the richest continent on earth, and its people are the poorest. That is not a coincidence. That is a business model. This is the story of how the West engineered African poverty and is still collecting the profits today. First, they divided Africa with a pencil and a map. Berlin, Germany. 14 European nations sat around a table. Not a single African was in the room. They drew lines across an entire continent, splitting tribes, separating families, cutting ancient kingdoms in half, creating artificial borders that forced sworn enemies to share countries. They didn't just colonize Africa. They deliberately destabilized it so it could never unify, never organize, never rise. Then, they installed puppet leaders to finish the job. When African nations started gaining independence in the 1960s, the West panicked. Any African leader who talked about keeping African resources for African people was removed. Patrice Lumumba of Congo tried to nationalize his country's minerals. The CIA had him tortured and executed within months of independence. Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso refused Western aid and started feeding his own people. They had him assassinated at 37. Every African leader who chose Africa over Western interests ended up dead or exiled. And finally, the looting never stopped. It just got a new name. They stopped calling it colonization. They started calling it foreign aid. Africa is the richest continent on earth, and its people are the poorest.
Okay, so the business plan is clear. This not to then say this is what happened. My brothers and sisters, that's why this $100 billion GDP plan and the movement and the people behind it, they're highly blessed, highly intellectual, highly cordial. We're not going to make us now group. Nobody know the cost under. No, we did not pass law. It just not happen. People in the economy, and they talk about it, they debate among themselves respectfully and with a cordial tone. And they show maturity in which we try for do. I think it's the best WhatsApp group. Well, Nelson Mandela is the best WhatsApp group. Yeah. That's what you see. Not because I enjoy saying the number $100 billion to wind you up. It's nothing to do with it. But because that number will change the lives of Sierra Leoneans. Because that economy means that family will stay together. Why? Because now we get better schools. We're respected again. The Athens of Africa will be restored. We get better hospitals. Connaught Hospital was one of the earliest hospitals in sub-Saharan West Africa. We go reinvigorate. That means say we go refurbish to the highest standard if the structure allows to restore Connaught back to its glory days and beyond. We'll provide the 24/7 electricity. It doesn't take a lifetime before we get electricity. It takes about a couple of years, my friends. I don't let the secret out the bag. You can like they go and tell people about sustainable energy, renewable this, bollocks. Listen, we're not where we can start to run. We need to walk. We just need the lights on, industrialization, fossil fuel it, and let's get to work. Right? Modern ports, I today in the complaint about Salon Ports Authority say capacity. All that thing they will look at. We'll bring railways not only to extract our wealth, but to get our people going back and forth. I see they don't ban kadi. You and me, where I meet you and we'll get for talk, a word, but that's a different talk. Anyway, reference your article where Lamrana highlight. Kadi, one woman way, now they make the best plazas and everything else. So now this country, where you buy kadi in food, you able to go put on a house, you cook straight away, you know, say everything nice and fresh. Well, in business now, because of this cocaine, when mother be don't bring kind of country, in business they suffer because they don't stop for export direct from Salon, plazas for can supply kadi. Una see how na him make where you see something wrong, where they go na your country, not set you much. The 24th of June 2023 was one such point. Kadi then in England. Look now, waiting this illegitimate government can do. Kadi in business, I happen to know about it because when I was living and dating Fatmata, I put Fatmata for law, we helped with one project. And she was also going to be supplying Tesco's. I don't know how that deal they work because then the COVID came and everything just collapsed at that point. But look at the effect it's having by having an illegitimate president, by ignoring the elections on the 24th of June, 2023, something I'll never do under any circumstances. I don't care how many flag bearers I talk to. My opening gambit is the 24th of June, 2023, there I stand. You, When they listen to me, call me fool man if you want. That's your opinion. The people that went for stand on the 21st of December 1979, they mean for call them fool man. But holy smokes, if they mean stand, maybe sometimes you currency mean for worth something today. The people that were mean there, when they bypass SI coma, if they mean stand, maybe this illegitimate boy, this unemployed 22-year idler, not mean for the control on our lives. So today, you got to take a stand. You got to stand on the courage of your conviction, not just when it's convenient. So, Kadi Kadi is being affected. Kadi Kadi, hello. So yesterday, after my audio, I'm rolling down the road. Yes. Now, somebody called me from America. No, you not call me. Send a voice note. And I put the voice note on. Now I say, Reggie, he said, I listen to Mr. Mansaye audio in full. He said, me, I'm not listening to Salo audio, so pass you on, maybe Ibrahim. He said, but I listen to Mr. Mansaye audio in full. He said, you don't arise pain in that man. He said, but now positive pain, because now in the idea, I ain't gonna get a family together for them go rescue MK Musa Khalil Suma and us. He said, this is good. Now I say, in fact, I think say you for allow some space now your business plan there, which is a working business plan, for let the government take over them property here. Now I said, that's an easy one. I said, thank you very much. Hey, you know yourself over there in Maryland. I said, thank you very much. I say, that's an easy one. I said, my business, they are in a court for 200 million pounds. They already offered me a plea the other day where I turned them down, say, go to court. Okay. You know, sometimes you just get for wait. You know that song by, another guy named Seth? I can see now. So, yeah. What? The song called Stand. Stand. Sometimes you just have to stand. All right. Sale and leaseback. Let me explain to you how sale and leaseback works. It's a very clever business model. It does exactly what you say on the tin. And that's what I devised in 2011 before I even start my business. That's what I devised. That's what I got Dr. Body Subra of Merchant Bridge, investment banker, top mathematician, and I mean, get me accountant then. It don't deceased now. Learned 2 weeks ago. We designed this over a 6-week period. It's called sale and leaseback. Let me give you a flavor. Okay, so how this works is me don't build or own something, whatever that is. Okay, but I need the cash back, but I also need the use of the thing. All right. So what I do is I sell unto you, the investor or institution. You give me the money plus whatever. Let's say I buy something for 10,000, but I wanted to sell it to you for 15,000 because say they can get 20,000 as a whole in your interest payments and everything else, your rent payments, all. So say you're 15, they can't turn 20. Me buy on 10. This is how it works. I buy on 10. I sell unto you for 15. So immediately, I don't get 15 back. So I'm 5 better off. Let's say I'm in borrow the 10 from somebody. Me now the whole 5,000 profits na me hand. Straight. I they recognize that on my P&L. I they recognize that through my business reporting, right? So that 5 grand is mine. It in a bank. If I want to smoke cigar with them, if I want to buy a handbag, whatever it is that I want to do, right? It's my money. But you don't sign a paper, okay? You don't sign a paper where say you owed 20,000 pounds by me through this process. So you rent them to me at the price where at the end of term, you get 20,000 back. So you put in 15, you get 20,000. You said they make 5, but me don't make 5 already from day one. You the collect your own in deeps, and you they make the bigger number 20. That's what they call a sale and leaseback, my friend. I'll give you an insight for those of you who are interested in my case. I can't talk about the case, but I can talk about the mechanics behind it, of course. So I developed a business we call sale and leaseback, where instantly they show profits instantly. Then through a cock-up by the tax authorities, they own cock-up, they withhold me nearly £1 million worth of tax returns. In the end, when I threatened to say they're going to the press, then pay me my money back, but with 2 conditions. Condition number 2 now I talk about. Then pay me money back and say, but you got to change the model to loan agreement. This is so significant. For when we're interested just in learning business, I want to let you know how significant this might go into 2 audio this morning because I just want to touch on this point. Sale and lease back. You they make immediate profits. You they rent the thing back off the person where you sell onto. And they make a greater profit over time, but you may not get the advantage of your capital back plus profit. Loan agreement. Loan agreement, how it's treated on the balance sheet, you still get the same money. You still get that 5,000. But now you're liable on the balance sheet for the full debt. So when you report on the balance sheet, your liabilities, every time you do business, your liabilities are bigger than your assets. Because why? You recognize your liabilities in full and you lost the advantage of the profit margin. Because now, instead of a sale, it becomes a loan. Do you understand what I talk about? That's not how I build my business model. That was imposed by a government agency. Understand what's in the go on now. So a loan agreement is disadvantageous. Nobody in their right mind would build a business where your number one transaction, your number one revenue source is based on loan agreement. Because each time you became successful, your balance sheet looks worse. Even though you get the money in a bank, not so damn deal, because the public not they see your bank account. Okay? Institutions are not they see your bank account necessarily, unless when I don't enter inside a transaction. But then they make up their mind based on the balance sheet where they're on public record. Now, you, an intelligent person, think about this. A business that was built on sale and leaseback turned by force, strong-armed, to a loan agreement position. That's the situation, my friends. But the sale and leaseback we want to talk about here today. Now, for the likes of MK Suma, for the likes of Jamil Sahid Mohammed, for the likes of Joseph Saidu Momo, for the likes of Shaka Probin Stevens, and so on and so forth, Tijan Kabadalo, including some paramount chiefs, what we go do under the $100 billion GDP plan is the family go sell them property to the government, and then the government agree to lease it for a specified time, which will be subject to renewal. So they look like 99 years, whatever. So now the family don't get an immediate cash where they can go do things with. Okay? Pay education for children, be doctor, whatever, remedy their debts. But now the state to control the assets under the lease back. Then they receive a fairly good commercial lease payment every month as well. But they hand over the property to the government, and under the $100 billion GDP plan, we restore all those properties. Obviously, the value added that we put into restoring the properties would feature into the commercials of the sale and leaseback. Do you understand? So, can sell at 10 million, the thing they for do, they expect you for do them back. No, you're not going to work so. They can be greedy. With the do them, where it work on a win-win. Compassionate capitalism is what it is. Okay? We do it on a win-win. But we restore those buildings because those buildings, though we know the history of theft and underhandedness to build them, it doesn't matter now. It's part of our history. We restore it and we put it to business use. Can you imagine? The 66 bedroom when a Kabasa Lodge, we turn that into a boutique hotel where we got the presidential suite area, not just a bedroom, the presidential apartment area, where president they can another for stop now some guest house or whatever. That's where they stay with the entourage and stuff like that. We do like MK Suma and O. Audio too. I don't mean plan for the long audio today. Yeah. Anyway, this salon business today, it's power time. But anyway, this you know it's in. All you can do, A.L. Williams say, all you can do is all you can do. We in additional way for do for now right now. Okay? All you can do is all you can do. And time is outside of health. Time is our most precious asset. The time I don't spend on these airwaves giving you ideas and stuff, I will never get back. Me picking not they get that time there. Me not they get that time there. Me church not they get that time there. Me God not they get that time there. My man not they get that time there. That time is gone. It's the most important asset is our time. So I need to respect the people who they come and pour into now and stop challenging them with stupid things like can't do business now. You don't have a business environment, man. You have an extraction environment where bribery and killings happen. Yeah, well, that's not me. So I won't be doing business there until we straighten the environment, okay? The environment is not conducive. I told you yesterday I'm allergic to ass leaking and bribery. Let's go back. So we restore them place them day. MK Suma them place. Some chief them, like that chief na Matutuka, we restore in compound. Chief na say Kamal, they restore them compound na Makeni, whatever. Make it back stately and we get with kingdom's pride back. That's what this $100 billion GDP business plan will afford you. The district CEOs would be making sure that those palatial official residences then McKinney, the president lodge, will restore it if it's broken. I don't know. I haven't been. But you know what I mean? We'll restore them places there. So we'll bring dignity back into our institutions and institutional ownership. Does this make sense to you? So the family will get money, the property is restored, and the property is part of our government temporary assets we would put to use to host our dignitaries and so on. Others could become museums, conference centers, official residences, cultural landmarks. The family will continue for benefits through agreed commercial arrangements, while Sierra Leone preserves part of its national history instead of watching it disappear. This is what dream builders do. They don't call me the master dream builder out of idleness. I build dreams. We're not simply to complain about problems. We design them into opportunities. In fact, in Mandarin, the word crisis is also translated as opportunity. So what you see as a crisis, I am trained, my mind is trained, my inner mind, my inner eye, my third eye is trained to see it as an opportunity. Steve Jobs will create Apple. He said most people when they grow up believing the world simply just exists. That's everything around us, every company, every institution, every product, every system. He went on to say, all those things was created by ordinary people. People no smarter than you or me. And if people created that kind of world, then people can improve it. Then people can build a better one. This is exactly what this $100 billion GDP movement is about. I refuse to accept that Sierra Leone must remain in the state that it is. That Sierra Leone must always be poor. That we should have now what is qualified as a failed state and a barbaric state. Barbaric society. Let's get that right. A failed state and a barbaric society. Where the real thieves, when are the politician them and the civil servant them and the permanent secretary them, then they in an air conditioned 4x4, while somebody will thief for survival, for let it eat that day with a hang and a veranda, hang in foot up and say, you go learn, you not go thief again. You're stupid. The real people you should go after are the one that were then at the 4x4, when are the politicians that were they ruining their life by signing their life away in debt with IMF and World Bank so that they could take money at the top, can't put their own wife and picking the overseas whilst you the suffer. Not so you comping fellow man where want survival. In fact, you for the open your home and call them, say, children, come and eat, eat. Because when the revolution comes, we're going to need to count on now for now able for pick up and deal with these people. We don't sell we like the slave sellers did. There is no difference. The only difference is back then we see physical change. Right now, every Sierra Leonean, whether you're in the diaspora, whether you're at home, everywhere you look, we're tied up in chains. My friends, we need to put chlorine in our mind. We need to wash. We need to brainwash now with that scrub sapo. We need to change the inside of our thinking, because the real enemy are in your 4x4s. The real enemies are sitting in the well of parliament. The real enemies are the high court judges. The real enemies is the head of police. The real enemies is the head of the army. The real enemies is the head of the civil service. The real enemies are your permanent secretary, your neighbor, where they look for survival. Not to your enemy. If you get yes, open and domot and feed that person. That person is a child of God. Your enemies are your political bollocks called elites. They're not elite at all. They're munku. Anybody who able to survive na Sambagota and Bome. Now munku individually. Nothing not elite by you. Nothing not elite by you.
Says, oh, bash into the walls too much. The thing I would say is, when you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world. Try not to bash into the walls too much. Try to have a nice family life. Have fun. Save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side. You can change it. You can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again. The thing I would say is, when you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world. Try not to bash into the walls too much. Try to have a nice family life. Have fun. Save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you.
Correct. Which man not smart past me? In fact, I'm smarter than the majority of them. Right? When I'm in boardrooms, they listen up. Some of you know. They're not smart past me. And I know who I am. I'm a child of God. And God gave me 2 instructions very earlier on. Go and have dominion, Reggie. And Reggie, go to work. I do both. I do both. Yes? Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, the mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimensions. I say, the mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimensions. I think it was also Edmund Burke that said, nobody can stop an idea whose time has come. Well, my mind and yours has been stretched by this $100 billion GDP dream. And I tell you what, because of the $100 billion GDP movement, this is an idea we don't come for Sierra Leone that can never be stopped. It on the inside people there now. Think about that. If Singapore can build from a mud flat land, why not Sierra Leone with no resources? If Dubai can transform itself with only one resource, why not Sierra Leone? Now God make we all or not? Imam, pastor, now God make we? Or then get different God? Lord no one. If Rwanda, after a 3-month war where they lost 1 million lives, they can reinvent themselves and hug themselves and put the Hutsi and the Tutsis, they forgo that to build their country. Why not Sierra Leone can do that with Timini, Mende, Creole, Limba, and Soso, and all the other tribes? The only thing standing between we and a better future is whether enough people choose to believe. Nothing happened except first belief. One of the keys to becoming a top salesperson in this life, and I am one of them, is to believe in what you're doing. If you don't believe it, you can't sell it. It's like when Whitney Houston say, now the movie Waiting to Excel. He say, if you're ugly inside, you got to be ugly outside. You understand? Listen, this is why I say we must stop rather thinking like victims. Woe is me. We need IMF. We need World Bank. Let me tell you, IMF and World Bank now digital money than the giwi. Then the press now at the computer, boom, 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 boom. The money don't hit your bank. The real wealth is there under your foot. That's Uncle Lily. God bless you with the real wealth. Landing a printed machine. In fact, the Chinese and they can't kick them soon. It's just a bit late because of COVID. They do deals. Now, certain country there where now Chinese currency then they take, not dollar. Yes. So that they can't phase out soon. Maybe not in our lifetime, but sometime by the time we picking and they get by the time they get grand picking, then it's going to happen. So we must stop thinking like victims and start thinking like builders. Builders build. Builders solve problems. Builders leave something behind, not a derelict, dilapidated memory such as Kabasa Lodge. When history remembers us, let it not say, but then complain. Let history say, you and I got to do this, that we reclaimed, we rebuilt, and we ended up prospering and left a better legacy than the one we found. My brothers and sisters, we look for leadership, a leadership with backbone, a leadership where feel strong, a leadership where they look at with man and eye, shake a firm handshake and say, no, we will not be doing that. That does not work in the interest of the Sierra Leonean people. And I will not be signing that document. Take it or leave it. We look for a leader. We say, right, Sierra Capital Holdings must be present in every commercial discussions. And Sierra Capital Holdings has got the veto to say whether we accept that deal or not. And then they use bad cop, good cop. What you call bad cop, good cop? Say, not from you, not them. So Sierra Capital will say, no. That deal is not in the interest of Sierra Leone. We won't be signing this. Now, I have an alternative deal that we could sign. One where you get 10% and we keep 90%. Now, that is a deal because right now, you've got 0%. But you can't take me assets and then you want to give me 10%. No. That game is over. That game is when you do the munku, gluttonous idiots. When you're dealing with the board of Sierra Capital Holdings, that game is closed. Game over. We would look for leadership, not personalities or slogans, leadership. The kind of leadership that understands economics, industry, finance, agriculture, technology, production, leadership that measures success not by speeches, but by factories built, by jobs created, by exports increased, and families lifted out of poverty. So today, I leave you with this challenge. Stop asking, what me don't do for Sierra Leone? Start asking, how can you help to build a Sierra Leone that will deliver this $100 billion GDP plan? So for once, we would have done with the gifts that God endowed us with, we would have put those gifts to use. You no go want to let God say, what's happening? Tom, you mean get 2 hands and 2 feet. Why you give the 2 hands and 2 feet to your neighbor and you sit on the ocean angry? You say, well, I know say you mean they pray every day, but you useless to me. So Lord put you in a hell one day. Because what's the point in putting you in heaven? You there in the habit of giving people the gift I give you. Can you imagine? You give your picking birthday gift one way, may not ask for all the time you give her. Then the next day you see him, you don't go give somebody next door. How would you feel as a parent? Well, don't forget, say, God say, He make we in your image and likeness. How do you think say God the feel? Where no say, I give them the gift. La label the gift them for now again. I give them 44 minerals and resources. I give them the Atlantic Ocean. I give them predictable weather. I give them fertile soil. I give them arable land. I give them youth, vibrant youth. 70% of them, they're unemployed. And yet, then they act 30 days in 2026 like they are victims, when they are the ones that are blessed. Blessed in the city and blessed in the fields. Nations are transformed with one idea, one business, one factory, one leader, one citizen at a time. Well, God bless you. God bless Sierra Leone. And may God bless Africa. Till we meet again, I want to say, total destruction of the current state of Sierra Leone is the only solution. Sierra Leone is damaged to the core. There is no function in institution in Sierra Leone. There is no law and order in Sierra Leone. Otherwise, Zainab Sharif will be at home right now, relaxing with her dog. And the people don't become so docile that you will sit and watch this advantage being taken of a girl that did nothing. And you're so afraid that you can't do anything. You can't say anything. You're a caged animal. You walk around with mental chains all around you. You're a slave. And I want to help set you free. And the only way we're going to do that is through the $100 billion GDP. So check out the real situation. God bless you. Reclaim, rebuild, Lord will prosper.